Welcome back. Car manufacturer Stellantis is set to buy a 20% stake in a Chinese automaker.
Yes, Leapmotor produces electric vehicles, selling around 10,000 cars in China each month. Stellantis is one of the world's biggest car makers, owning stakes in brands such as Peugeot, Alfa Romeo and Jeep. The deal will cost $1.6 billion. Well, for more, let's speak to Peter Richardson, Vice President at Counterpoint, a global technology market research firm. Thank you very much indeed for being with us, Peter. So that's quite a lot of money, $1.6 billion. Stellantis making a significant investment in Leapmotor. Considering their previous challenges in the Chinese market, which maybe you can tell us a bit about, why are they making this move, do you think?
Well, I mean, the worldwide automotive market is going through a massive change. I mean, it's, you know, we say it's probably the biggest change in 120 years as the auto market is shifting to electronic drivetrains and then much more kind of driver automation, you know, ultimately leading up to driverless cars at some point in the future. And the Chinese have been taking a strong lead in the electric vehicle sector, and the traditional kind of European motor companies that we can all think of have been struggling a little bit in that transition. They're much more profitable in the internal combustion engine cars, and the Chinese are, you know, driving a very fast transition towards electric vehicles. So I think Stellantis here is sort of recognizing that there's an existential threat almost from, you know, the Chinese vendors. So rather than sort of being on the defensive, they want to participate in that, and they've identified Leapmotor as, you know, one of the players that, you know, is quite well aligned with them from a values point of view, and they can potentially take advantage of that and, you know, be part of this overall kind of fast shifting China market as it expands into the global market.
Right, so you highlight this fast Chinese transition to EVs. How competitive is the Chinese electric vehicle market, and what can Stellantis do to leverage this new joint venture with Leapmotor?
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese market is very competitive. There are a lot of brands that have emerged in the last few years. There is undoubtedly going to be some consolidation, and you know, as you mentioned at the earlier in your earlier question, Stellantis has struggled in China directly, and I don't think they have any intention really to try and compete with their own brands in China. So they're going to use Leapmotor essentially as a kind of a platform to compete in China, and then help Leapmotor to compete on a more kind of global stage. So they will effectively set up a joint venture company and will be the driver of exports of Leapmotor into markets like Europe, Middle East, Africa, Latin America, are the ones that they've identified, as their first targets. And the shipments will probably start in the second half of next year. So it's not going to be a kind of an immediate thing, but, you know, coming next year, we will see the joint venture company that they're going to form start to sell cars from Leapmotor on the international market.
And for those of us who've not actually heard of Leapmotor before, what are the specific strengths and technological advances that the company can bring to this partnership with Stellantis?
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, as I said, the Chinese market is very competitive. There are, you know, a lot of upstart manufacturers. You know, what we've seen over the last few years is that the Chinese homegrown ecosystem has become, you know, very strong, and they're moving at a very fast pace. So the typical kind of design to manufacturing start for European companies is, you know, maybe 3-4 years even for a model. For the Chinese, it's much faster, maybe only 1.5 years. So they're moving at a much faster pace, and they're doing this because they're kind of creating a lot of technology around the, you know, electric vehicle drivetrain. But on top of that, they're also working on this sort of notion of a software-defined vehicle. So a lot of the systems that, you know, run in cars, they're kind of combining those into, you know, centralized computers or, you know, a network computer model that they can then develop and use that to control different zones within the car. And Leapmotor has been very advanced in terms of some of the ways that it's doing this, and the way that then that feeds into the design of the vehicle. So potentially making the design of these new cars more flexible, lower cost, which again kind of drives this idea of being able to bring new models to market pretty quickly.
OK, Peter, great to get your thoughts on this. Peter Richardson, Vice President at Counterpoint. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.